Did you know women represent just 3% of Fortune 500 CEOs and less than 15% of corporate executives at top companies worldwide? Have you wondered what the secrets are to getting into the top ranks, whether in the private or public sector? Do you want to figure out how to stop being held back in your career or passed over for promotion? Then you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, President and CEO of the Executive Women's Success Institute. I have decades of experience in the military, the federal government, and corporate America, and my mission is to help women succeed and tap into their full potential. I want to reach 1 million plus women around the world to become the leaders they are meant to be. So if you want to move into a management or executive level position, or maybe you are a female veteran transitioning out of the military into business entrepreneurship, then reach out to the Executive Women's Success Institute at 301-693-3284. Let us get you on the fast track to success. Well, hello and welcome to the Success for Women show. I am Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, your host, and my mission is to help women accelerate the path to success. Well, today's topic is wellness 1 week at a time, and my guest is Dr. Stephanie Audrey. Let me just give you a little bit of background on her. Dr. Stephanie Audrey is the CEO and president and co-founder of 420 Wellness Jamaica Incorporated and ZenoVerse Wellness Group Limited, a global wellness organization formed to deliver wellness 1 week at a time through its MediSpaTels strategically located across the Caribbean, the United Kingdom, and Africa. 420 Wellness Jamaica is a timely concept that was initially conceived when Dr. Audrey was just 14 years young. She imagined a wellness center. Later, while working in the hospitality industry for the Claremont Resort Hotel, she was on the marketing team when they rebranded the property after investing over $1 million to launch what was then a new concept, spas at hotels. I'd like to introduce to my viewers Dr. Stephanie Audrey.
Hi, Dr. Madeline. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. It is great to have you on the show to share some of your nuggets with us tonight. I am excited just to have you here. But I just want to say, I normally give the standard bio on my guests, but before we get started, I always like to ask the question or just say, for you to tell us what you want us to know about Dr. Stephanie Audrey.
Okay, but before I do that, first, let me just tell you that I honor you and appreciate you for your service, your military service. I thank you for your leadership. I thank you for your mission with the organization and this show and the content and the work that you're doing in the world. I want to first acknowledge you, my sister, because I am so happy that our paths have been blessed across. And I know that it's not by chance. And I just see we're going to do so many wonderful things. So I guess what I would say is I started affectionately trying to kind of bucket my life experiences in a brief little summary. And so I found myself saying that, in truth, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an educator, and I've been a corporate executive. And so I think from those particular frames of reference and experience, that's how I've been able to draw upon and then be where it is I am sitting in front of you today.
Wow. That is Amazing. I mean, I have heard your, you talk, especially on the Black Business Olympics. And I was just so excited when you agreed to come on the show. And I know that you've been in different arenas, real estate development, venture capital, and thought leadership. So tell us all, being in all these areas, how would you say they are related along your journey?
Absolutely. What I looked at is, so I'm that kid. And so, I have this whole passion about what I think kids know when they're about 8 or 9 years old.
Mhm,
I have a theme that I call your 9-year-old dreams. And I'm looking forward to starting again because I had already created and started content for
mhm,
the young folks. I'm just ready to start hooking them back in again. But really, I'm the product of being an only child,
okay.
and my family kind of said I was just weird. That's what they called it. But as a little kid, we were playing, kids played, we played school. My friends would be so mad when it was my turn to be the teacher because they were like, we're really going to learn things. She's making us read real books and do real assignments. So I was a taskmaster when it was my turn.
Mhm,
I was a performer. I played piano, I played violin, I was a dancer, like I was dancing in the high chair, and so I come from a musical family, so I had that performance part. But
mhm,
more than anything, I was fascinated with entrepreneurship. And what I didn't realize was very early, my mother was in commercial real estate. And so that was part of our family history. And
uh-huh,
so that was fine. But her dreams were to be in broadcasting and communications. And I sort of say, I got to live the blessings of my mother's intentions because I was the one that got to be in the radio, in the broadcast, the actor, all of these other things that were part of her intention. But
mhm,
the thread that seemed to go through was the business. So I started my business originally in the advertising space. Noticed that I was advising states and municipalities, but that real estate developers were somehow or another benefiting from the recommendations. So I was curious
mhm,
and I took a leap and did a career change after sort of building my agency business up to what I thought was a pinnacle of success at that time, and
mhm,
then reinvented myself in real estate development and then eventually venture capital and looking at the markets. But
mhm,
what was consistent through it all was mindset development. And
mhm,
so that's how I really began forming, I would say, my understanding and appreciation for thought leadership, especially around mindset
mhm,
and leadership development.
mhm. Wow. That is so interesting being in all those different arenas. So, what was it that made you decide to go into the wellness business?
Well, it was so interesting because, I think that was, again, a seed that my mother planted.
Mhm,
She raised me on this book, Back to Eden. And it was so funny because I tell people, well, when I was 9, she bought our house and she didn't know how to cook.
mhm.
So my school, elementary school, had a book fair. So she bought 2 books. She bought a soul food cookbook and she bought Back to Eden. And she
Okay.
set an intention, though, that she was a petite little cute thing, but for some reason she struggled with high blood pressure. Now I understand, the stress and all of that stuff. But
Mhm,
she set an intention that I was not going to have high blood pressure. I was not going to have any of the traditional sort of family ills. So she was going to learn how to prepare our foods differently, which meant I was eating brown rice before that was ever in vogue. And let me tell you, it was way different then.
mhm,
The stuff people, my family called me foo foo because I too became a pretty good cook.
mhm,
And as I cook, it has to be good for you, it has to look good to you, and it has to taste good, but it cannot have, salt and all these other things that I think are harmful for you. So it has to be nutritionally, beneficial for your body. So, and so I had the opportunity to kind of experiment with some of my ideals. So one of my friends told me when I was pregnant
mhm,
that I was a little bit stressed about, I was at that time, I looked like I was going to be a single mom, and I was a little bit stressed by it. And my mother had just passed the year before my son was born. And so one of my friends tells me at lunch, she's like, Stephanie, but you love to teach. So remember, this is like the ultimate pupil. Like, this baby has no choice. So, and I remember, Dr. Madeline, there were times that that little baby was kicking me because I would have the Walkmans playing them on my belly.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know I'm aging myself, but I would come in, I put the Walkman on my belly. I would be, reading him books, playing
Mhm.
books on tape, playing different music, and
Wow.
all of this stuff. But then experimenting also
Mhm.
with his nutrition. And so what I have been able to see now is he's 26, never had a cavity in his life, a walking specimen of health
Wow.
and wellness. And so again, look at the power of my mother's intention and
Wow.
how that intention shifted not only me, but a whole nother generation. And that is seeded, if you will, to change the legacy of our families. So
Mhm.
really what happened was, again, along my journey, stressful journey being the first of everything, what I didn't realize was that, sure, I had the nutrition and some of these other things happening,
Mhm.
but what I wasn't aware of is the high stress, the high release of cortisol, and how that is wrecking havoc internally on our bodies, and how that then plants the seeds for disease. And so, what happened was right around the time that I finished my doctoral dissertation, I was looking at studies and I noticed that, as in particular, women from the African diaspora continue to advance, sadly, we are the fastest growing cases of heart attacks, of strokes, of, diabetes, of these kind of chronic conditions. And so it was just this whole thing. And I think the emergence of timing, in that, in my real estate development career, what
Mhm.
I noticed was the areas that I focused on, there needed to be a pivot. And so my goal as a developer was to create these holistic communities where people not only lived, but they healed,
Right.
worked, and played. And so that was kind of the catalyst of bringing my interests together so that
Mhm.
holistically we could experience our best lives.
Wow. So, I mean, you just, I could tell you get so excited when you talk about wellness. I could just see it, just oozing out of you. So tell me, why I know that you talked about, the fact how you were raised on the brown rice and all of this, and how your son never had a cat. But why do you think wellness is so important? Because one of the things we know is that, especially after the pandemic or during the pandemic, we have all these people now that have their, not only are they you have the obesity factor, but you also have the mind. Some of them have, they were saying the other day on the news about them, a lot of people are in, depressed, and they mentioned PTSD. A lot of, have PTSD because of what happened. Why do you think wellness is so important?
Oh my goodness. And this is perfect, perfect question. Thank you.
Mm.
So the reason being is that what we often don't realize is that all of disease begins with gut health. So it's gut health, and
Mhm.
it's also mindset, right? So it's these two things, but it's really the gut, because when we think of our bodies are like these, kind of chemical concoctions between the various cells and how the cells function, and the organs, and then how bacteria and
Mhm.
parasites and all of these things that we ingest. And sometimes we think that we're only ingesting when we're consuming food or drinking something, but no, you're ingesting through environments, you're ingesting through your skin, through your pores. What are you putting on your body? Your
Yeah.
skin is the biggest organ that you have. What are you using? And so the problem is, all right, that's the baseline of who, how the Almighty designed our bodies, right? But
Mhm.
then in addition to that, over the course of the last, I would say, 3 or 4 decades, I can see it just looking at the evolution. People have been subject to, I think, a big experiment. We
Mhm.
have, a Western philosophy about what wellness is, and it's about sick care. It's not about wellness.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think when you unpack the intention, people set an intention about what it is they're aiming to produce as an outcome.
Mhm.
And many of the health facilities, it was not about producing wellness because they would not sustain those organizations. They have to produce sickness so that the doctors have something to experiment with, to practice on. And
Mhm.
we have been subject to that practice.
Mhm.
That's why they say they're practicing medicine, they're practicing experiments. We are the research guinea pigs.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's not only the medicine, it's
Uh-huh.
the food supply, it's all of the poisons and the different chemicals that are used in the food supply, the genetically modified food. So when we look back, if we look at our ancestors, they lived off the land. They
Mhm.
typically grew and developed their own food. These days, for convenience, we're buying processed. Processed means chemically
Oh my
stimulated,
goodness.
manipulated. If
Mhm.
you can find any nutritional value out of whatever you're consuming, that's an exception. That's
Mhm.
not even the rule.
Mhm.
So the problem is when we talk about even post traumatic stress, again,
Mhm.
chemical release in our bodies already now into a toxic body with parasites in the body from poor food. Guess what? Those parasites feed the brain. Those parasites, right about now, this is the season where they're expanding, they're multiplying. So if you're not doing anything to detox your body, and so
Mhm.
it's not about, I hear people saying, well, I'm trying this and I'm trying that. And it's like, guess what? You cannot put fresh nutrients in a toxic environment and expect them to dominate. You've got to get rid of some of the toxins to give
Absolutely.
those nutrients a chance to fight for you and win. But
Yeah.
you also have to understand it's your mindset too, right? It's all of it working together. This beautiful body that we have of chemistry and engineering and,
Right.
cells.
Wow. Now, what are some things when you talk about the toxins and having to, kind of cleanse your body? What are some things that you think we can do? I had a friend of mine just the other day. We were talking, and she was saying how she needed to do something to detox, and kind of cleanse her liver. That was one of the things that she mentioned. She says because you got to keep your the liver needs to be cleaned. I mean, is there anything in your center that you all do for detoxing, or what would you kind of recommend for that?
Absolutely. So, what we believe in, again, we believe in producing outcomes. So, we don't like to do, as we say, one size fits all type of solution. So, part of our process is when someone books their wellness week, we first do a personal assessment so we can establish a baseline to understand what are the unique experiences that that person may have. What does their medical history look like and any particular concerns?
Mhm.
If it is that they have current medical records or if they're taking prescriptions, we'll have the medical team review those things with them. And then when they arrive, one of the first things that happens is we do a body scan. It's simple, it's not a invasive procedure. It's the nurse practitioner is able to affix a device on your finger, and it's able to read your organs. And so that gives us a full scan of how all of your organs are doing, but also what's happening. It was in that assessment on myself that I discovered my brain was being poisoned by excess cortisol and
Mhm.
hair dye. Hair
Hmm.
dye.
Yeah.
So so then we knew that then based on, again, my size, my weight, what
Mhm.
cleanse would be a cleanse that would clean from my pituitary gland on down, right? So I did one particular cleanse for that.
Right.
Then I waited a few months and then I did another cleanse.
Mhm.
Some of the basic cleanses that seem to be safe and effective across the board is one where you're doing an activated charcoal along with an organic coconut oil mixture, and you're taking those two, and that removes toxins and metals and things from your body. And so that's a simple yes. So what you would do is you take about 2 parts of coconut oil and 1 part activated charcoal, and you just, liquefy it. So if you sometimes you have to put a little warm water under the sink of the container just so that the coconut oil is liquid, and then you take a teaspoon a day for 5 or 6 days. And then from there, begin to understand as you're detoxing, seeing how that's a very gentle cleanse. Another source of particular cleanses that I like is if you check out Pharmacy Black on Instagram, they
Mhm.
post regular blogs and updates daily on great cleanses. And I love the fact that those cleanses, again, are identified on our website. What we're creating is our store that will begin to show you access to what we call our tools, and our tinctures that we utilize along with our touch to help you along your wellness journey. So we're updating to add some of those things to the site for people. But what we like to do is expose them to the particular treatment protocol
Mhm.
during their wellness week, and then guide them on the things that they can then take home to continue their wellness journey.
Mm. Now, what do you think of colonics? Do you think that that's a good cleanse also to or detox, I guess, for your body?
Yes, I do. I think though, as at the same time is you want to understand, because sometimes we may have a different set of bacteria and
Mhm.
things of that nature. You want to understand what specifically is happening in your body. But usually, yes, usually it's a pretty safe thing. What I noticed is it's a very interesting thing about culture,
Mhm.
because as I've spent more time abroad, and in particular a lot of time in Jamaica over the years, and really understanding why the women all seem to be so aware, of just ways to heal their families, is because it's important. But one of my friends was sharing that detoxing is just part of their regular routine,
Mhm.
maintenance routine. And so the problem sometimes is that we don't have that as a regular practice as Western Americans. And so oftentimes we have too many toxins that we're holding in our systems for extended periods of time. So I think that understanding what cleanses are necessary, and then also what a good timing cycle would be for your particular needs, is important. And of course, balancing that with what you're consuming and what
Right.
particular ailments you might be facing.
Absolutely. Wow. Now, I know that you operate mostly out of Jamaica, right? That's where your wellness, but is there more than one center? You have about what, three of them, I think, that I
So
read?
right now we have 3 locations, and over the next, few months, we'll begin, I have several in the pipeline acquisitions. We have construction projects, so I'm in the process of doing the redesign. So what I've created is an asset category that's called MediSpaTels. And so in a MediSpaTel, that is bringing in certain, medically guided, practices and protocols, along with this idea of you're at a spa hotel, and so it's for an extended period of time. So, there may be people that need to come and stay for 30 days or more because they have a chronic condition or a critical condition that they're facing. So, we see this with like our Alzheimer's patients. And what I learned from the medical team was I didn't realize that Alzheimer's is literally diabetes of the brain. So
Hmm.
sugar,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Sugar, sugar, sugar. And so when we, kind of come back to basic things, one of the number one problems with most of us in America is we're addicted to sugar.
Sugar. Yeah.
And if we just mastered that, detox, we would feel so much better,
Mm.
and also salt. So when I spend, months at a time in Jamaica and I come back to the US, like I can't hardly eat any of the food, it's it's amazing how, you know, much you notice and experience. It's like I can't even eat. I remember I ordered something and I took 2 bites and I was like, I can't. I can't. Right? But, you
Mhm.
know, before I didn't realize it, you know, because it's something that you normally, you know, consume. It's no big deal. Yeah.
Wow. Well, when you mentioned earlier about the analysis, and before you said you do the, the finger, my first thought was, at the airport when you get in that thing and it just goes around and scans you. That was my first thought, that you probably put you on something where it scanned your body like that. But that's kind of a real easy one, just doing the.
It's real I said, "I promise you, it's painless." I mean, and it's amazing because, Diana, who's the nurse practitioner who typically, runs this, she is like a body whisperer. She is a Cuban-trained nurse practitioner, and I'm telling you, the medicine, their approach to wellness in Cuba is really top-notch, and so she is as the computer is reading your body, she's already looking at you, and she probably has I mean, there have been times that I've come in with patients and she's got the patient on one table and she's telling me, "You go get over on that table." And I'm like, "What? What? I didn't choose. Nah, let me touch this. Let me move this." And I'm going, "I didn't even know."
Mhm.
I watched you walk in and you didn't quite look. And I'm like, okay,
Wow.
hey, my son. So
Mhm.
again, walking specimen of wellness, but I knew he had been eating bad. So I was like, well, let's just check. At the time he's only 25. We don't expect any major things. Sure
Mhm.
enough, she says he needs to detox from the parasites. If he doesn't get them out of his system, they're going to continue to multiply. They will begin to influence his thoughts. So it's like, no, you have to detox. And this is urgent because preventative care, sometimes people are like, well, I don't have any symptoms. It's like, great. You don't want to get this.
Right. Right.
That's the goal. You don't want to get any symptoms,
Mhm.
be well.
Wow.
Why go through that?
Yeah, when you start feeling it, sometimes at that point it might be a little too late, you know?
Exactly, exactly. And listen to your bodies because, oftentimes we hear a little twinge or something didn't feel quite right. I mean, really, I can say in all honest that so I went to law school after finishing my doctorate. I know, glutton for punishment. Trust me. It was just, I just didn't want to have the regret of, at the end of my days saying, I knew I should have gone to law school, but I didn't. So I was like, while I'm in school mode and as close to being as disciplined as I'm probably going to be for the
Mhm,
rest of my life, let me just go. If I get accepted, I'm going to go with it, right? But what I didn't realize is the stress of coming out of not only an aggressive doctoral program, raising kids, the whole nine, running business, all of those things. The doctoral dissertation, I did it all in record time. And then
mhm.
I jumped right into law school.
Wow.
So by the first, into that first year,
Mhm,
suddenly that break that I should have taken
mhm,
became evidence. And really, I think the global COVID pandemic and everything being shut down, allowing me to go to Jamaica, where I ended up spending 3 months, saved my life. It
mhm,
really did. And it also let me know that now was the right time. It really I had been working on launching the telemedicine part of the business for the last 15 years and
mhm,
kind of the initial concepts of what a MediSpaTel would look and feel like as it relates to the programming. But
mhm,
initially, I was thinking I would launch the company from the US and then expand globally. I didn't imagine in my wildest dreams, mind you, I've been shopping for islands for the last 30 years. So I knew that I was going to buy and develop, you know what I mean? This is part of a bigger plan. I knew I was going to buy and own islands and all of this stuff. But I
mhm.
didn't think that I would be blessed to be able to launch the wellness from the island and build the empire that way. And so I'm like, God did it better. I'm like, thank you, Lord, for your way, because my way,
Mhm,
that's why I kept hitting concrete barriers, right?
mhm,
But
mhm,
this and Jamaica, really believe is the Garden of Eden. A lot
mhm,
of people don't know this. I didn't know this little fact that soil types, there's less than, I think, 4 soil types in the US. I think they say less than 2 in Canada.
Mhm.
Jamaica has over 100 different soil types, that little nation of Jamaica. So all around the island, there is different soil, there's different sand, there's different currency of the water, there's different minerals, there's different formations, and
Mhm.
all of that different energy, along with the rainforest, the blue mountains, everybody's home is just about a herbal garden of
Wow.
healing, right? The
Mhm.
side of the road, cancer fighting herbs are just freely growing wild,
Mhm.
the food. If you want chicken, it was probably running around a few hours before you have it. The fish, it just came in off the water. When you start to consume that stuff, my body is dancing on the inside, is what I'm like, you don't understand. So what were the outcomes?
Mhm. Mhm.
In a year and a half, I transformed my body back to my 25-year young weight. I
Okay.
was telling my girlfriend I had to get rid of everything in my closet because I'm wearing a 4 and a 2.
Wow.
And not only am I transformed, I'm even noticing my skin tightening. My son just turned 26, and so now he's like, "Well, maybe I have to act like I'm your brother or whatever." We're out in public because people are like, when he says this is my mom, like there's a pregnant pause. It's like they're trying to do the math, and then they're like, "Well, maybe she had you really young," and I'm like, "No, my family said I was an old hen, so I was not young."
Wow. Get
Like,
out of
no.
here.
you know, but it's this idea and it's this energy and it's this passion. So as I look at our beautiful, brilliant sisters, right? And I know that it is the season for their leadership. Again, why I know what you're doing is so important, is so critical. And guess what? We have the solutions for the PTSD. We have the team who's qualified to really assist people with addressing those particular impacts so that they can be on a healing journey. And again, by looking at it holistically from that mind, body, and soul perspective, because it really does require us to look at our wellness with clear intention and recognizing that we want to be holistically healthy. And so our mental health is, accomplished by the time we spend in quiet reflection and meditation, as much as it is when we're doing yoga or when we're doing grounding, when we're connecting with the soil, when we're connecting with those minerals that begin to heal our bodies inside out, when we're spending time in safe conversations where we can discuss the things that concern us. Each of these experiences are all aimed at contributing to our ability to find our path to wellness. And so I think that they are important, and I think that they are conversations that, need to be had so that people can explore alternatives to maybe the traditional treatment protocols that they've been presented with. And I think that that's important because a lot of times, people are concerned, well, should I just abandon a Western philosophy? Should I? No, you should do research. You must inform and educate yourself on what's going to allow you to accomplish your best wellness outcomes. But I'll tell you a trick when you're trying to first get a baseline about your nutrition. You may want to start with what were some of the things, what was the environment where your mother was while you were in the womb? Because believe it or not, a lot of the things that you might have sensitivities towards, where there might be chemical imbalances or offsets, began with that womb experience. And so, oftentimes, if you at least go back to that foundation, you can begin to uncover those unique things that contribute to you, to your well being. Because just like your fingerprint is individual, your requirements for ultimate wellness are that unique as well. They're just like your unique fingerprint. So don't be deterred. You have to advocate for your wellness. You have to believe that your wellness was given to you by the Almighty. And you have to protect and advocate for your wellness. You have to be your biggest advocate. And if you find yourself in a situation where you can't advocate, you have someone else that is going to advocate on your behalf for your wellness. There you are, doctor. I hear you. Oh, I don't hear you. Let me see. Oh,
Oh, wow. What's going
okay,
on?
there you
What's
are.
going on? Is it me?
Yeah, it looks like we lost you for a second, but you're back.
Is it me? What happened? I don't know. I don't have any sound right now.
Are you able to? I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, great. Okay. Oh, sorry about that.
Fantastic.
But I can't
No
hear
worries.
you.
You can't?
I'm not sure what's going on.
I
Let's
wonder,
see.
is
Yeah,
it
I
what's
can't
your
hear you.
speaker setting? Do you have a different? Let me see.
Oh, wow. We were having too good a conversation.
Amazing how powerful they can happen.
Yeah.
How's that? No? Still
I
no?
don't know if I should go out and come back in.
It sounds like there's a little static with your
Yeah.
mic.
This has never happened before. Okay. Well, I'm going to go out and come back in.
Okay. So again, what we offer is wellness a week at a time. We like to get you to one of our locations at least for 7 days and 6 nights, and we take you through a wellness journey by having you enjoy amazing experiences that just happen to also allow you to heal. So, just like any other experience, we provide that experience. Are you there?
I am back. I don't know
All
what
right.
happened. It just
No
kind of
worries.
whoops, just
You
went
know,
out. Yes,
that's technology for us. We're all dependent on it.
goodness. I know. But I mean, you were saying such great things. I was sorry that I missed some of it, but I see that you kept going, so that was good.
I just figured, sometimes you have to be prepared, right? Adapt to the environment. But
Wow.
what I was sharing is you had asked a very important question. You put on the table about mental health, and I was kind of talking about, detoxing, but really wanting to give your viewers some places to begin understanding where they could unpack what's important for them. So one of the things that I shared is that we asked people to look at what was the experience that your mother had while you were in the womb?
Mhm.
Because that's really the beginning of how sort of your nutrients, the stressors, the chemicals that you may have been, exposed to started while you were in that womb experience. And sadly, the toxins are more impactful while you're in the womb. So if I'm going through a stressful scenario, that baby is feeling all those toxins, at a greater level of intensity. My body is fully developed, it's larger, it can probably dissipate it a little bit more than that child in the womb. So how do you reverse those things when you don't even realize that that's happening, a part of the process? So what you want to do when you begin to understand how you can accomplish wellness and full life is 120 years and beyond. And so the studies that produce that information demonstrated what some of the supplements, kind of the nutrition that seem to be common in super centurions. And so there are truths about as we age, our bodies stop producing some things, and so that's why it becomes so important to understand what has your body not been producing, what has been fed within your system. Like I didn't know that there was a cannabinoid system within our bodies.
Mm.
And so again, I didn't understand that the reason way back when marijuana was outlawed was because the people had a potential to be so much more healthy,
Mhm.
except that there's synthetic marijuana, there's, lace, you know what I'm saying? So again, what we're talking about when we talk about ganja in Jamaica
Mhm.
is organic, medicinal, not laced, so it's a different thing.
Wow.
And so as a result, there's a different outcome. But what we tend to rely upon to feed like I'm a heavy black pepper. And
Mhm.
so it was like, yeah, that was your system craving, something. And the black pepper was one way that you could feed that system. Again, not knowing that there was any deficit or anything that need to be fed. But a lot of the work and study that we're doing around the work of CBD, of THC, of psilocybins in particular, which are the mushrooms they're finding to be extremely effective with PTSD. And
Hmm.
so I'm working again with some of the experts that occupy that space so that we can inform and again bring those resources available so that people at least can become educated about the different options for their wellness. And so that's a lot of what I say we do. You come to our resort like you're going to any other resort. What we have baked in are your experiences. So
Okay.
depending upon what week you pick, there might be a featured speaker.
Mhm.
There might be a featured yogi.
Mhm.
We might have a fireside chat around particular topics that are of interest. The
Mhm.
aim is to make sure we're addressing your mind, body, and soul during that 7-day stay. And kind of underneath, we're giving you all the good stuff that just is like a bonus. But
Right.
you're swimming, you're going to bars, you're going to the rainfall, you're getting a mineral bath, you're
Okay.
doing all of the other fun things that you would expect to do.
At a
Just you're
resort.
getting good food that's replenishing your body. You're getting cleaned out so that you feel like a new person when
Wow.
you leave. Imagine that. Imagine coming back from a vacation and really feeling like it did what it was supposed to do.
Have overeaten too much food like we tend to do when we go on vacation. Wow.
Yeah, so you may come back 5 pounds lighter and you're like, "Wow, it wasn't about what was eating. I was eating, it was what about what was eating me, right? That was why I was hanging on to those pounds. Now I released that junk, so I released that junk."
Wow. Well, it sounds like I'm gonna have to come to your resort then.
Absolutely. I can't wait, and I hope you bring a group of ladies.
Yes,
I would love to
I have
feature
some
you and your thought leadership. Absolutely.
definitely
Yes.
would seem like they would like to do something like that, and we all come and just have a good time. Wow, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. So tell me, what has been some obstacles that you faced being in the wellness business?
Absolutely. Well, I would say the launch of this company, because it was right during the COVID pandemic, and I was right in the middle of law school.
Mhm.
One of the initial challenges is that my co-founder, being a holistic physician, treating his patients around the world, so literally chronic, critical patients. There have been so many sick people over the last 2 years. So that demand just was really overwhelming, to be honest. And then really having people receive so much misinformation. So the hardest part is, kind of stopping and saying, whoa, wait a second, and really having to pivot from the desire to help the people who need the healing the most
Mhm.
to having to step back and realize that even though my heart says I want to help those people, they're not really our primary audience. It's the people that invest in their wellness that pay for what we offer.
Okay.
So as much as I love and want to, we're creating a business that has to hit performance targets, that have to meet, investor outcomes. And so that was a little bit painful,
Mhm.
to come to that realization, and I do it because again, I'm passionate about, I want healthy, I want my sisters to be healthy because, they out here with missions
Oh,
to
absolutely.
change the world, right? A
Absolutely.
lot of us have huge assignments.
Mhm.
And if you're feeling your best, then you're going to perform at your best level. And
Mhm.
so you're going to produce greater outcomes. And that's what I would like to see facilitated. We talk about more health to all, less to none. That's a quote from Wallace Wattles' book, The
Mhm.
Science of Getting Rich, and that's really the premise of what all of this is formed around, is that intention for health. So that was probably the hardest thing, was realizing that I have to look at them as really that tertiary segment of the market, that really it's the primary folks are the folks that travel around the world already going to wellness resorts. They look forward to wellness resorts. And it was a couple that approached me and said, yes, we'll be looking forward to your places around Jamaica, because we've only experienced something kind of similar,
Mhm.
but in another Caribbean country. So we believe that if you're bringing this concept, yes, we're interested. But it's like, it's the European market. It's, you know what I mean? It's all of these other Middle Eastern, European, wealthy Africans that invest in their wellness,
Mhm.
not so
Mhm.
much US market just yet, but we're going to change that.
Want to change it. Absolutely. I know you will help them to do that.
Absolutely. And so, and I think that that's it, is that what I've discovered as more people have watched my transformation,
Mhm.
then I've been able to start speaking to them about two of our brands, which 420 Beauty Bear is the beauty brand. And so under the beauty brand, we're able to offer, the beauty treatments. And so it eases the conversation. And, well, I just want to, lift my face a little bit, or, maybe lift my butt, or, some of these other more cosmetic treatments. And it's like, we got you too, because we're going to heal you while we give you those, outcomes as well. And so we're going to be launching a few 4-day packages, which also make it a little bit more accessible for folks that don't really have the luxury to commit a week.
Oh,
So those are ways that I'm finding that I can create a few tweaks and still reach some of the other folks so that
mm.
we can heal them too.
Okay, sounds good. Like I said, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely
Yes,
gonna come
yes, yes,
and
yes. I hope you will travel. I'm setting the intention that you will be traveling around the world as we're open up resorts. We'll literally be scheduling, like, come on, Dr. Madeline. We need to have a fireside chat in, Ethiopia. Let's go, mama. Let's go. We need to do it in London. Let's go, mama. Let's go. We need to hit the world. So I don't think from you, a military woman, that we'll have any resistance in me saying, "Hey, sister, let's go."
So do you have anything coming up soon that's coming up,
Yes, yes, we're working on two things. One, I'm working on a retreat for women,
Mhm.
and we sent it out through the Black Business Expo as well.
Mhm.
So we're looking at the fourth quarter of this year. I'll have that date finalized. The only reason that there's been a little bit of a is, of course, I'm planning to take the California bar exam, which is in July. So that has been a little bit of the last piece of
Okay.
this legal journey that I must finish
Okay.
so that I can comfortably step forward into everything else that we're building. So I've been building the team. I've, finding my way to have a little bit, but then now I have to go back into studying for that bar exam, which is about 4 months of some study. So I'm still CEO studying plus, and then we're on our way to open up some of the locations in Africa. And so I'm getting the construction, the early stage of new development and all of that stuff. And some of those things take a little bit of time.
Well, so then we'll have to call you Dr. Stephanie Audrey Esquire.
Exactly. Exactly. It's so funny because I was thinking about that yesterday. I'm like, how are they gonna, it's like, yeah, I guess that's what happened. So yeah,
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Gotta add that on there too.
gotta add that on there too, right? But that's just because, listen, the reason it's so important is
Mhm.
in each of the markets, I have a social impact initiative. So I committed that I am going to train and develop 100,000 farmers and entrepreneurs in Jamaica and
Okay.
help them become part of our supply chain
Mhm.
so that their families can create generational wealth. And
Okay.
the beautiful thing about this is that all of the content and things that I need, I've already created.
Okay.
So it's not about me saying, I'm just creating the infrastructure so that I have tech centers around the island.
Mhm.
That is the problem, is that there's not enough infrastructure, there's not enough tech, and the country is laying fire fiber optic as
Right.
we speak. So kind of some of the infrastructure that I need to facilitate these things are
Mhm.
also in play and being produced. So, you know, it was a 10-year campaign. I want to get started where I'm doing at least, you know, 10,000 a year. And
Mhm.
thanks to technology, I'll be able to do that. And we'll probably start, you know, within the next year or so, hoping that tech will catch up and we can get those centers built and launched, you know, equipped with the resources so these families can begin their training and development.
That sounds fascinating, and I know that you're going to get all this done. I have total faith in you and what you're going to accomplish and achieve in doing all of this great work. Great work, I tell you what. So tell us if we wanted to reach out to you to find out how we can get to your resort or how we could just find out more about wellness and maybe detoxing or what have you. How can we reach you?
The best place to go is to 420wellnessjamaica.com.
Mhm.
Join our newsletter. We're working, like I said, behind the scene, we're making some updates to the website. But if you get on the newsletter, we'll be announcing as those updates and packages are released. And I
Okay.
know we have a few packages that we will be releasing soon because we have another new location. We have a location in Runaway Bay that's going to be coming online. We have Treasure Beach, which is already online, and we have Negril. So we have those locations. I just don't have my large capacity. Like I had a group that wanted to do about 100 folks. And I was like, not yet. That's under construction. But my smaller groups, you know, my 20, 30 people, I can do 20, 30 people at a time groups in the locations that I've mentioned. So that's what I'm going to focus on, getting those folks, you know, so that they can become part of the tribe, right? We want to create wellness ambassadors and just create this momentum such that people will say to someone, you know, I want our millennials to say when someone says, you know, you sis, you need to have, you know, you have cysts or you have fibroids. So you need to have, you know, no, let's check first and see if there's an alternative to being cut.
Right.
Let's see if there's an alternative to taking poison. Let's see. Let's just see. I just want people to think, well, okay, that sounds like you believe I'm a nail and all you have is a hammer. But
Okay.
I know there's some more tools out there.
Okay.
So let's explore. And if I can get that part of the buzz to begin, then I know we're on our way.
Absolutely. Wow. Wow. We have been listening my viewers and listeners out there. We have been listening to Dr. Stephanie Audrey of 420 Wellness Jamaica. And she is inviting us all to come down and get some wellness and some relaxation. And I just invite you all to just go with her, go there and just, you know, be able to relax. That is absolutely fantastic. I thank you so much for coming on to the show. I want to just mention that we have Nicole Maxwell, who has given us a little shout out there. She's viewing us, and also Dr. Amacita Maloon Gibson, and she's also from the island. So you may see her sooner than you think because she loves to travel. And so I could see her popping in on you and getting some of that wellness done.
Absolutely. Well, you are all welcome. And even, you know, I'll be setting up remote working. So, like, people want to go and work remotely. Look, we got you too. Come on.
Wow. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It has been a pleasure having you on the show. I can't thank you enough for bringing such great nuggets to us and sharing with my viewers. And again, that her website is www.420wellnessjamaica.com. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So make sure
Thank you so much, Dr. Madeline. Thank
oh,
you. It's been just my honor.
sure. It's been a pleasure. So, if you want to stay and hear my upcoming events, you're welcome to do so. If not, then I will see you on the other side, like as they say on the Business Olympics. And I'm sure I'll
Fantastic.
see you because it's coming up soon. So I'll definitely be seeing you. And another friend of mine, Miss Adria Bennett, she has joined us also tonight and to get some of this great information. But let me just let everyone know what's coming up. We have, I'd like everyone to make sure they mark their calendars and come relax, rewind, and release at the Show Up to Rise Up Women's Retreat, taking place April 21st through the 23rd at Lake Anna, Virginia. If you'd like to find out more information about registration, you can email me at info@exwsi.com. Also, too, make sure you pre-order your copies of the Own It anthology, It's Your Life, Own It Unapologetically, and the journal, 365 Days to Transformation. To pre-order the paperback book, it's $24.99, and if you want to order just the journal, it's also $24.99. But to get the set, it's $49.99 to get both the anthology book and journal. And if you like to pre-order your copies, you can email me at info@exwsi.com for the direct links. I am going to have them put on my website, so you'll also be able to go to my website, which is www.exwsi.com. And if I didn't mention it, I am one of the authors in the anthology. Also, we have the Black Business Olympics that's coming up this month. It's the 20th through the 26th. And the Black Business Olympics, as you know, is a fundraiser to provide scholarships and laptops to high school seniors going to college and K through 12 entrepreneurs. The Black Business Olympics showcases Black businesses, Black business owners, and corporations all around the world. And if you'd like to be a speaker also to showcase your business, you can email me at info@exwsi.com, and we'll make sure to get your business on that platform to showcase your business. And if you have not viewed my TEDx talk, which I did in Vancouver, Canada, the topic was Show Up to Rise Up. You can watch it on YouTube. Just put in my name in the search box, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, and it'll come right up. Or you can email me at info@exwsi.com for the direct link. I am so excited that people have been sharing, have been watching, have been viewing. It is now at 156,553 views. So keep watching, keep sharing, and keep commenting on it. I thank all of you that have looked at it so far and put your views and your comments out there. So thank you so much. I'm still pushing it out to 1 million plus. So that's the goal. I'm also a contributing writer for Own It Magazine, where I share an article every month. Own It Magazine is a resource for personal, professional, and business development. So make sure you get in your subscription. If you'd like to get a subscription, you can go to my website, which is www.exwsi.com. And I believe that is all of the announcements. And I just want to again thank my guest, Dr. Stephanie Audrey, for joining me tonight. I'd like to thank all my viewers for tuning in tonight and joining me. If you'd like to reach out to me, of course, my email is info@exwsi.com or my website, www.exwsi.com. And while you're on my website, you can download my free 3-part video series on 3 things every woman should do to position herself for executive leadership. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this episode. We had some great nuggets that was shared with us tonight by Dr. Audrey. So make sure that you share this episode, like it and share it, put it out there so everyone else could get the benefit of the nuggets that we got tonight. Again, this is the Success for Women show. We're here every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am your host, Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, helping women to accelerate the path to success. Thank you again for joining me. I love you all to life. And as usual, be well and stay safe out there. Good night. See ya. Hi, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, host of the Successful Women Show, which airs every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Our mission is to help women accelerate the path to success. Women in the workplace, women in business, and women who aspire to become business owners, live their dreams, and reach their goals. So join us Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, I'm Dr. Madeline Ann Lewis, President and CEO of the Executive Women's Success Institute. And my genius is helping women accelerate the path to success. You know, I was blessed to have strong women in my life who encouraged, motivated, and pushed me to do my best and to never even think about giving up on my dreams. So I say to women, we must show up to rise up. We have talents and potential, but who will see them if we don't speak up and get noticed? I know that women are a tremendous resource on this planet, and there is nothing more fulfilling than helping a woman tap into her full potential. I do this because I want to be a part of helping as many women as I can to show up, to rise up. I do this because genius is common.